I apologize for the delay on the email that was sent out. There was an incorrect Zoom link meeting ID, so we're gonna have to fix that. So first things first on the agenda to keep things moving, we can do the roll call. I just want to see not everyone, including the public, but just how many commissioners we have here tonight. So we switch to gallery view and everybody can see each other and say hello. Okay, fantastic. In the interest of time, because I know we've got a very large agenda to work through this evening. We know who our commissioners are. We're gonna just keep it rolling this evening, okay? So it's very nice to see you all. Let's keep it moving. And to tie into that, the mission statement, the vision, and the guiding principles. There was a note made in an email regarding the interest of time, of course, because we only have a select amount of time with the interpreters. If we should be reading that every time, every meeting. So I don't know, I want to bring that to the rest of the commissioners to see if they had a thought on that really quickly. We're not going to be reading it tonight, but I want to see maybe if we should do it every other night, or if we should have a link that's accessible to it throughout the meetings. I'm not sure.
Tina has her hand up.
Let me see. Tina?
This was actually my comment. So yes, I was just wondering why it's read every time. It seems as if we could save time by, I assume it's already posted on our website, but Ernest had said that perhaps we could include the full text of it when we send out our meeting invite every time instead of reading it at the meeting. In the interest of time. Thank you.
Thank you, Tina. Yeah, I think, Tim, go ahead.
Tim is saying, I was wondering if we had set it up when I was being chair, just in the interest of reinforcing our values and thinking about, being on the same page as the commission to make sure that we all understood what we stood for and that the community also understood. I think in the interest of time, that's an issue, but at the same time, the mission, the vision, and the guiding principles are things that should be reviewed. And it's possible when we start the meeting, you could inform people about, where we stand as a commission. The chair could do that to keep it, just to show our values and make sure that people are aware.
Okay, excellent. Thank you, Tim. So as I said, we're not going to read it tonight, but I think what I will do when I introduce myself and begin the meetings, I think that's a fantastic idea, Tim. I will just reiterate why we're here, why we're doing what we're doing, and what we stand for. So if everybody's okay with that for this evening, we will move on. There was also an email that had gone out in regards to public comments. So I noticed that we keep public comments typically towards the beginning of our meetings, but I'm thinking maybe we can kind of redirect them towards either the mid to the end. I know we don't want to have too much time for our public comments, but if people have a concise, quick, brief comment, I'm all for hearing the public's voice. So I think what I'd like to do tonight is kind of push that back just a little bit, so we can, like I said, keep things flowing. And as long as everybody is okay with that, right before we take a break, probably right before we do the commission reports or the community reports, I'm going to offer up the floor for very quick, concise, brief comments for the public. Again, if that's all right with the commission, I don't want to say yes for everyone. So if anybody has a comment towards that, commissioners.
When we-
Boomy,
I think having the public in the middle is a good idea, because if we say we want to keep it to the end, our meetings sometimes tend to be long. And when we were meeting in person, when I look around, by the time we finish, everyone in the public are gone. And we want to give them a voice. We want to hear them. So I think middle would be fine.
excellent. Thank you, Boomy. If everyone else is okay with that, we can move to meeting minutes. Oh, wait, Tim, go ahead, Tim.
Tim is saying, the reason we have had it at the beginning is we have an agenda and we send that out to the public. And if they have a comment prior to us engaging in the discussion of an agenda item that specifically is a reaction to something, it gives them a chance. Different agencies who have representatives coming, they can see what the agenda is and what might relate to them. But we can be more flexible. If the public comments have been in the beginning, sometimes it then does not allow people to react, or we're moving in the agenda and we don't get back to them. So I think it would be a good practice to have the opportunity before we vote for them to speak. And that way their opinions would inform our decisions.
Okay, thank you, Tim. It's tough. I like it both ways. I like it in the beginning. I like it in the middle. But again, it's something that we have to just discuss as a commission and see. I think one of the emails that I had received was regarding having the public comments middle towards end, because, if something was discussed in the agenda, they wanted the opportunity to speak on that. So I think Tim is absolutely right in saying that the agenda does go out to the public. So the public does have the opportunity to read it prior to our meeting time. That way they can set up their questions and their discussion points prior to us meeting. And that way, when I state, okay, public comments, they know it's the third point on the agenda. And so, at that point, hopefully they could state their opinion or their comment. So I like it both ways, but as for tonight, if everyone is okay, I think I would like to put it towards the middle, so we can move along, if that's all right with everybody, just for this evening.
I do have a thought.
Yes.
I think that for people who know they can't stay throughout the whole meeting, I hope we could ask them to rely on their own good judgment as to whether or not they can wait till the middle, or do they need to be at the beginning, and let us know what they need. Because historically, we've had people go at the very end and it felt kind of disrespectful to the public. So I think people who are pressed for time at the beginning, reminding them they need to be brief, and then those who can stay in the middle, that would be great. So it's kind of an either or situation.
Right. That makes sense. That makes absolute sense. So any pressing public comments, could be said or stated in the beginning at discussion point 3, and anything that was able to wait, we could put in the mid between the reports. I like that. So again, the public utilizing their discretion and telling us if they can wait or not, but yes, I like that. So I will think about that for the next agenda for our next meeting. If we're okay for this evening, I would like to stick it in between the two reports, if that's all right. If we're ready to move on, the next discussion point would be the meeting minutes. So Bethany, I don't know if you're available to
I will
share
pull that up in 1 second.
just so everybody can view.
Kim, Amy has her hand up.
Oh, okay, thank you for telling me. Hold on, there we go. Well,
Will you be accepting, comment from Amy, or would you like the minutes shared right now?
First, let's do the minutes.
Okay,
And
give me one
Give
moment.
everybody a moment to do that, and then we'll reconvene. So let's just take a look at the minutes. Picture of my dog, I apologize. So, everybody had the opportunity to review the meeting minutes. Everything looks appropriate. And I'll be waiting to hear a motion to accept the meeting minutes as they are.
Um,
I apologize. I motion to not accept those meetings minutes. This is Drew.
Thank you, Drew. Do I have a second?
And Betsy here, and I second.
I second.
Thank you. So all in favor, you can just turn your video screens on, give me a thumbs up. Okay, thank you. And meeting minutes passing as they are.
Kimmy, a couple people I think weren't there. Did they abstain? Tina abstained. Okay. All right, that's fine.
Perfect.
Yeah, sorry about that. I wasn't at the
That's
meeting, so
Yep, no problem. I figured it out, but thank you. Yeah, no problem at all. So, did Amy have her hand up? Or can that wait for the public comments that's going to be open before the committee reports?
I missed what you said. I'm sorry.
That's okay. I didn't know if you had your hand up. I just wanted to open the public comments before we do the commission or the committee reports. So I didn't know if your comment could wait until then. I just wanted to make sure.
Oh, I would rather wait until after, but I did just want to let you know that I was asking two people to add you, Kimmy, to the chat if possible. If you could make that happen. Sometimes it's nice, so that way, you know, if I could send messages and so on without, you know, having all the comments is helpful. So I appreciate that.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Okay. All right, and moving on, we have the NV strategies, the plan. I want to introduce Shane at this time and Davin, if we could. So is Davin with us this evening? That's
No,
okay.
unfortunately, couldn't make it.
That's okay. Well, thank you for joining us. So I think a few of the commissioners may remember Shane from last year, but he's a strategic consultant that we've been working with in regards to our retreat planning, as well as assisting myself and the other commissioners with the transitions in place with the new chair and things of that nature. So Shane, would you like to make a comment at this time?
I would, yes. First of all, thank you, Kim, for that introduction. I know that there have been some people on the committee who may not be familiar with me. I'm not sure if I remember all of you. I do recognize some, but some faces are new. So yes, my name is Shane Feldman. My sign name is an S on my chin. I am a bald man with a black beard, and I'm wearing a black shirt, and I'm sitting in my living room, typical New England, Connecticut living room. Excuse me, my pronouns are he, him, and his. And my goal is to, you know, looking forward to working with you guys again. I'm excited to collaborate with this team. When I first connected with the Rhode Island Commission years ago, when Ernest was there as the director, I was involved in supporting the transition at that point in time for him into his new role. We discussed evaluations and content and supporting his flexibility, and it was a wonderful experience. I then went over to the independent practice, and that's when COVID hit. So things have kind of, you know, been difficult and put off. So the training finally happened in spring of last year. I believe we had 5 different sessions, 2 hours each, and it was a wonderful experience. One of those was the origin for the committee, and unfortunately, or excuse me, it was great. Ernest did a great job of filling everyone in. So I will be getting in touch with him, or we did get in touch again this year when Tim was leaving, which, by the way, congratulations, Tim. And now, and Tim is saying thank you. Yes, sure. And now Kim has become the new chair. So I'm here to provide support in that transition within the organization to discuss kind of what these new roles look like and how everyone can, you know, work together to support each other. My contract is also involving the leading of the retreat. We had hoped to do that this month, but unfortunately with the new governor's orders, that has changed that plan. So now we are doing a prioritized strategy, whereas people who may remember from last year, it's understanding the role of the committee organization members, and it goes down to the prioritized strategizing. So the 3 priorities where I kind of feel we need to clarify and focus on are how to make decisions, and I will be providing support on that at the retreat. I did want to ask him if maybe you wanted to facilitate with the committee on how we can decide what the correct date for that retreat could be. My understanding is that now the pandemic has improved a bit and we may have the opportunity to meet in person. So please, discuss and let me know how I can facilitate having that discussion so we can schedule that retreat. I am looking forward to working with you all again this year.
Thank you for that, Shane. Appreciate you being here and all the help that you do provide. It does not go unnoticed. I think as for the retreat planning, I want to see if we can send out, I'm not sure what the name of those sheets are that we've utilized in the past. Bethany, you may know the name. I think Tim actually knows the name, where it has these select dates and people can pick and choose what works for their schedule. And then we find the most common dates and we're able to, all meet for that date. I forget what the name of that was.
Would you like a doodle poll?
Sorry, what was that?
A doodle poll?
That was it, a doodle poll. Yes, I would like to do a doodle poll so we can establish some, possible dates at least for our retreat. I want to see, if we can get everybody there under the same roof, hopefully at the same time. So, okay, if we could do that sooner than later, that would be ideal. Thank you, Bethany, for that. Okay. Oh, excuse my dog.
And just to remind everyone, sorry about that. Just to remind everyone that I believe that we are having 2 or 3 different retreats. I have to look and see what's going on, but the goal would be that, the opening retreat would be a discussion where we would start working together. I do have an agenda formed for that already. And then the second would be like a midpoint retreat where we would see how things were working out and adjustments. And then the final retreat would be a closing retreat. So we would need some, different dates, but you could certainly schedule in a way that works best for your organization, and we'll support as best as we can as well, of course.
Thank you, that's perfect. Yeah, I think the biggest thing is we have so many different people with so many different schedules and vacations, etc. So to try to say this date at this time is very difficult. So I think if we do the doodle poll, that would be ideal. We can just put a couple of dates out there and see where we land. Tim?
I understand that some of us on the committee are planning to, end our terms this summer, I believe June 30th. So, on June 30th, following that fiscal year. So I know that my plan would be to resign at that point in time. And I believe that's true for a few other committee members as well. So I'm not sure if we want to get this retreat in prior to those terms ending, or if we want to schedule it for the new commissioners, hoping that we can find them in the interim. So just wondering about that. Shane here. Kim, do you want me to answer that, or do you want to answer that?
Shane, you can go first and then I'll follow up.
Okay, yeah. I think it would be valuable to have the previous commissioners involved, especially for that first one and possibly second retreat. Their history and knowledge of the institution is really important and imperative data that would be kind of, imperative to discuss what the priorities are. Obviously, after that second retreat, we could certainly reconvene and make a decision as far as going forward.
Thank you. My sentiments exactly. I think, the people that are willing to step down are wealths of knowledge. So I think to underutilize them would be a sin. So we need to see if we can get them, if they're willing to participate as well prior to their stepping down. I agree.
Sounds good.
All right. Let's see. So I think that would move us on to our next point would.
Again,
which-
thank you, everyone. I look forward
I'd
to
like
meeting
to
you all
thank
again in
you
person.
Thank you very much, Shane, for participating. So moving on would be our executive director report. Ernest, are you available for our report?
Okay, great.
I have the points set up. And I know people are watching now on Zoom and Facebook Live. First of all, I wanted to make the announcement, some updates about COVID. Mike Bayer is here at the meeting tonight. And I'm going to ask him to speak about information related to vaccines. Mike, if you wouldn't mind opening your video and sharing a little comments about updates that what's happening now related to COVID-19. Thank you. Mike is saying, very good. Hello, everyone. So related to vaccines, you know that we have been offering communication access at a once-a-month vaccine clinic. This has started since September. There's one coming up this Friday, February 18th. It'll be scheduled from 1 to 4 at the Rhode Island School for the Deaf. What we tend to do is have a Saturday morning, but the vaccines are now available for the 5 to 11 age group. Nancy McGuire Heath asked if we could have it on a Friday afternoon so her children would be available at the school. So that is what we agreed, 1 to 4 this Friday. The governor has made an announcement as of last week during a press conference. And it seems like as the numbers of COVID are declining rapidly, there's been a significant drop, over 70% less than it was at the peak a few weeks ago. So they're going to be continuing to provide interpreter support with vaccines, but I wanted to wait until after this Friday and get some numbers, and then I will talk to the Department of Health. Personally, I would like to see them continue, but we need to see what the numbers look like. We tend to average around 25 to 30 people getting vaccines each time we offer a clinic. To me, that is not bad. To me, that seems average given the number of people who would access that. Is that what you wanted, Ernest? Yes, Ernest is saying, thanks so much, Mike. Thank you. The other item is the Open Meeting Act. There has been a lot ongoing in the state. Right now we have Zoom as a platform, which I think is excellent because the commissioners can all attend. And they're saying this will be till February 21st, the executive order that allows us a waiver on the Open Meeting Act. And we have an ad hoc committee meeting on Monday, the 21st. And they can meet by virtual means. But after that, we have to wait until we hear what Governor McKee makes a decision about whether, I mean, we don't know if we're going to be waiting on a week-to-week basis, whether or not we all have to go back to in-person meetings. So we have to keep an eye on the legislature and the executive orders. And as soon as I know, we would tell all the commissioners. It's one of the issues there's no clarity on right now. Can we still meet by Zoom, or do we have to meet in person? We have not gotten that information yet from the State House. I know Governor McKee's team is looking at COVID numbers, and as they decline, I know that McKee's goal would be that if it gets to less than, let's say, 10% in the population, they could start having open meetings again where people are in public, in person. But I will continue to let you know. At this point, any public meeting has to be, can be Zoom or another platform streaming. The state does now still require masks within public buildings, but Governor McKee has made a decision to allow the different local cities and towns and school committees and school boards, school departments, whether or not they have masks as a mandate or not, because the CDC has still recommended masks, but the governor has started to basically allow the towns to make those decisions for themselves. And some towns may decide that they don't need masks indoors any longer. So it won't be clear, it'll be a town by town basis. And I don't know, Mike Bear, if you could clarify at all to help add, because I'm still a little foggy about whether the mask mandate is in operation or not. Mike is saying, of course. I'm going to try to keep it short and sweet. You're good, Mike. Yes, go ahead. So I'm going to give the brief version. With the numbers declining over these last 4 weeks, the governor and the Rhode Island Department of Health is confident that the numbers will continue to decline. And since we are in the New England region where there is all New England is really leading vaccination rates, we have a high level compared to the rest of the United States. Some of the states are 85 or 90%, and the population, almost all of them have at least one vaccine. So that is also helping the numbers decline. That's one of the reasons that the governor has made the decision that the local school districts and private businesses and towns and cities can make the decisions whether or not indoors masks are required. Outdoors, no mask is required. The indoors right now are on a local basis. They make those decisions. The governor made the decision and announced that private businesses can make those decisions. The K-12 still has until March 4th where the mask mandate is in operation. After that, they're going to talk to school committees and parents. The governor made it clear last week that he wants parents involved in the decision-making in each school district across the state to help make that decision to agree, because parents are nervous. Some of them are worried that their children will be in school unmasked. So it is interesting because the Center for Disease Control, CDC, has not said any change in their mask mandate. They are still requiring masks, or think it's recommending masks. So I think it might be premature for the states to decide to lift the mask mandates. So it'll be an interesting, I don't call it a conflict, but different points of view, different opinions from the CDC and from the state. I've talked to several deaf people. People are calling me asking what to do. And what I'm saying is, if you're not comfortable, keep your mask on. But if you feel comfortable and you're ready to not wear your mask, you can do so. But I would say, when in doubt, always wear the mask. If you're in a food store or wherever you are in public. For example, yesterday, I went to Dunkin' Donuts, the Dunkin' Donuts Center, for a basketball game, and the place was crowded and a lot of people did not have masks. I kept my mask on. When I was sitting though, I took my mask off because I was in one place. But then as I got up to move around, I put the mask on. I am vaccinated. So it is an interesting thing. I hope that's clear, that if the mask mandate is lifted, it's still up to each individual to decide what their comfort level is. The other thing is, I created a vlog last week about masking, and I explained it in depth, what the options are. So you can tune into the Rhode Island Commission for the Deaf and Hard of Hearing vlog and see my explanation. Thank you so much, Mike. So at the press conferences, we have talked to the office of the governor with their team for communications to make sure that we have access for interpreters to be available in person with the governor, and that we have a certified deaf interpreter or deaf interpreter available to work in the team. And the governor's communication team does understand our concerns about the lack of access if there are no interpreters available. And the community has already spoken to the team. So the team has heard from people, and they are going to make some changes about the way the requests are. Today, there was a press conference, and we suggested they have a picture within a picture. If there's an emergency notification or any local or national emergency and an interpreter can't come in person, if it's not safe to drive there, you can use PIP technology, the picture within a picture. An interpreter could videotape themselves, and it can be edited in to show the interpreter when you're watching the governor. The team and I discussed this. We've talked about it, about funding and about how the ADA would be applied in this, and when the beginning of that process, to talk about access if there are no live interpreters available, if there's an emergency, if it's about COVID, whatever it is, that we need to have access for interpreters. So that's the COVID part of my report. And I did want to speak about the Helen Keller National Center. We have been working closely with the commission in partnership. They work with deafblind adults. And we have been talking about a pilot program where we could support deafblind people in the state to have SSPs support staff, support people to work with deafblind people. We've had meetings with stakeholders, and we've been talking about resources that we have in the state before we launch any kind of a pilot for SSPs to help mobility for deafblind people. We're trying to figure out how to engage deafblind community members themselves. I have decided tonight to bring the Helen Keller National Center regional contact person, Tara Brown Ogilvie. She is here tonight, and she can speak to everybody for maybe 10 or 15 minutes. I would like her to talk about what her work is, what she's doing in the New England region, and how she can help the state of Rhode Island. So I'll let Tara speak for a period, 15, 20 minutes. It's nice for you to, it's good to see you. I'll turn off my video, and that way you and the interpreter are visible and clear. Thank you so much for coming tonight.
Hello, my name is Tara Brown Ogilvie, as Ernest said. And my sign name is a T on the top of my head to the right. And I'm so excited to be here. Thank you. It's my first time ever coming to this meeting. So I work with the Helen Keller National Center, and I represent the New England region. So my role is to pretty much be a liaison for the National Center that is located in Long Island, New York, with the New England states of Rhode Island, Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire, Connecticut, and Massachusetts, where I'm located in the greater Boston area. So my physical office is located in Deaf Inc., and I work very closely and alongside DBCAN, the Deafblind Community Access Network. My office is right next to theirs. And I'm very familiar with SSP programming. And Ernest reached out to me, I think last November, with this, excitement for wanting to include the deafblind community more within the commission. And I was so happy to discuss with him just small ways we can start, and then big goals that we could have for the future. And so small things I've noticed that Ernest has already done is added some deafblind announcements with bold lettering with yellow and black, just to show a little bit more that we're being aware of the deafblind community and how we could provide better equal access to information specifically during COVID. And then he set up a really great meeting where we invited deafblind community members to come and share their feedback and information about how the commission could be more inclusive and responsive to their needs. And we didn't have a huge turnout, but one of the things that did come up would be an Ssp Pilot Program. So just to give a little background on that, a support service provider is someone who is trained and familiar with how to work with an individual who has combined vision and hearing loss. They could have training in providing human guide, like providing some environmental information, either voicing or through tactile sign language or visual sign language, along with being able to help that person navigate their environment safely and provide access to information that they might not otherwise have been able to get to if they were on their own in a crowded social event or in a grocery store or something of that nature. So one reason why it's kind of something big right now, and that why we're thinking about kind of this idea of the pilot, is during COVID, so many deafblind individuals were reaching out to me saying, I don't have access to information. I don't know what's going on. I can't get to the store. You know, someone just drops groceries at my door. You know, they're relying on family and friends to help them out. And sometimes that can strain those relationships. It's no longer me, the person wanting to hang out with my friend or my sister. It's now I'm the one who needs to be taken to the grocery store and taken to the bank. And now we got to do all these things. And so it's more of being able to empower the deafblind community by having individuals that can accompany them into the community kind of on their schedule, when they want to go, where they want to go, and providing them access to social events, whether they're public events or deaf events, just being able to provide that access, especially with right now during COVID, just like the focus on mental wellness and not being isolated. Especially a lot of individuals that I know, they have a hard time accessing the video phone. And so even just being able to make simple phone calls or read your mail or get letters from people, it's a struggle sometimes. And so having an individual to come in and support, to be able to have someone be able to facilitate a phone call or help them read mail or get what they need, I think is just a huge important thing that the state of Rhode Island could look into in order to improve quality of life and just listening to the deafblind community and what their needs are. So since I work across 6 states, I can tell you that the state of Connecticut, New Hampshire, Maine, and Massachusetts all have these programs. Some of them are very small, some of them are very big, been around for a while or just a short time. Right now, Rhode Island and Vermont are 2 states that do not have this program at this time. It could also help to supplement transportation. I know that's difficult, particularly in Vermont, that's pretty rural, but they are working on a pilot program. They are working on putting something together right now. And so it'd be a really good opportunity to look into something of the same kind of caliber of working with maybe 10 to 15 deafblind people about how they could be better supported in their homes and their communities. So I've been working with Ernest to kind of feel out this idea and this program, and we do want to hear more from the deafblind community and what they would want out of a program like this and what kind of funding sources might be available. But that's kind of where we are right now. So just wanted to share that update with you, and thanks you again for having me. Please let me know if you have any questions. Or should I stay on or switch to Ernest?
You're muted, Kimmy.
Sorry about that. If we can switch back to Ernest so he can finish his report, that would be ideal. Thank you so much.
I saw that Bumby had her hand raised. I don't know if she had a question, but if she did, she could certainly go ahead.
Yes, I have a question for Tara. How do they have a training for people that want to support deafblind people here in Rhode Island, or that's in the making?
Sarah speaking. So the Helen Keller National Center, HKNC, we provide training for SSPs. And I forgot to mention that some states have volunteer SSPs and some have paid, but typically there is a training that's involved. And then also for the deafblind community members, it's usually helpful to have a training as well so that there are clear roles in place of what is and is not an SSP and kind of what's a professional boundary versus a friend, a buddy. So I think that's a great question you have, that would be something to consider, is setting up a training and finding those people who may be interested.
Thank you, Tara.
Thanks.
Are there any more questions for Tara before we move on? Tim, you have a question? Yeah, Tim here. If you are going to be setting up that SSP training program, I'm wondering how much money is required to kind of initiate that, and even just for one training, how much the cost associated with that is.
Again, so it depends. It could be just like $500 for a day training. It kind of depends if we bring in deafblind community partners as well to help with the training and cultural sensitivity. Could also be a great opportunity for employment for individuals who are signers, as well as providing additional information for those who are low vision or hard of hearing.
Any other questions for Tara? Tim, again. So Tara, if it were the $500 training, we'd be glad to help find that money to get that taken care of. And I'm sure that, even through donations, we could make that happen. So, and Ernest is saying, thank you, Tim. And this is Tara. I just want to add something.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and also it's more of like a train the trainers. So if you are able to do the training and train people like Ernest or other stakeholders, then those individuals who are experienced can train further. So usually these types of trainings only need to happen every couple of years or just when this is first started. And sometimes people need refreshers. So it's supposed to be kind of like a holistic system that you have what you need, curriculums and information to train new people once you get the initial startup.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, there are no other questions. So I do want to thank you, Tara, for coming and giving that presentation and explanation in regards to your deafblind program. We are certainly hoping to establish and do something to support the deafblind here in Rhode Island. It's definitely time to get that on the road. So I appreciate you joining us this evening and looking forward to working with you going forward for the long term. So thank you again for your time. Moving on. So we, the commissioners, are focused on acquisitions and goals and wanting to improve the relationships with the commission. It's important to us to have a good relationship with the community, the various agencies, and everyone throughout the state. We have already set up a 30th anniversary kickoff. It started in January, and we're developing these vlogs so that people can get an eye on what the history of the commission is, 30 years strong. We are going to be distributing those vlogs soon and hoping to, that everyone will get the opportunity to see them and get a good taste of what the history looks like for us. Additionally, we have also come up with an Oceanite. It's a viral, I'm not sure if you're familiar with a fireside chat, but here in Rhode Island, what we're hoping to do is focus on the ocean because we love it and we're near it. So we are hoping for this ocean viral, meaning that we will be calling on different people that will be the focus of those, whether they're deaf, blind, the community, things that would benefit Rhode Island. So our first Oceanside chat will take place with Darian Hammergill, excuse me. He is the head director of Deaf Inc. And she is a Black deaf woman. And so we're very excited about having her come in and speaking to her about, for about 45 minutes, excuse me. And then after that virtual fireside chat takes place, we then can have a Q&A, have some nice one-on-one opportunity for the community of Rhode Island to really enjoy, rather than having these 1 or 2 hour meetings that are politically based, something that's more of a casual experience that can be saved for later. Again, it will be 30 to 45 minutes as opposed to a 2 or 3 hour idea. It will also be available on Facebook Live, so people can also just watch and get an idea of who she is. So our idea is to really focus on the youth of those deaf, blind, and hard of hearing Rhode Island citizens that, we could include and partner with. So one of the ideas we had in order to kind of get that on the road was to do something like this. We had a suggestion as well. I know that we had discussed this at previous meetings, and we wanted to add the deaf blind to the Rhode Island Commission Deaf of Hard of Hearing, making it RICDBHH. So Rhode Island Deaf, Blind, and Hard of Hearing, RICDBHH. But we do need to add that onto our legislative mandates in order to meet those requirements for adjustments. So we are holding off until we kind of strategize and decide how to make sure that that gets done clearly. Our goal is to change that name to RICDBHH because we do want to make sure that the deaf, blind, and hard of hearing feel included in this. Another thing I've been working on is a panel that would be focusing on Black History Month. Unfortunately, it hasn't worked as of yet. It was such a challenge. I think that, as you may recall, last year and the year before, having that Black Lives Matter was such a hot topic. And I feel like people were motivated and interested to be involved. And now it's kind of fallen off of it. And I don't know if it's because, the focus is not there, or if people may feel that Black History Month is kind of the same old thing that happens every year. And, whereas on Facebook, in February, they may get excited. And then after February, that excitement kind of goes away. So finding some ways to get this to work really was a challenge. So these Oceanside virtual chats, I felt might be a good opportunity to get the Black perspective, where they can vent and share their experiences. And we could see that. The goal would be, rather than having it in February when everyone else is focused on it, they have voiced expression that, even me as well as a Black individual, having it outside of the month of February is really imperative. So we kind of put the idea of the Black History Month in February aside, and instead utilizing these Oceanside virtual chats, and for a variety of cultures, not only Black individuals. It's a diverse opportunity for people to be discussing things rather than just sticking to a single month and a single culture. Diversity and inclusion will be key for this. Lastly, the commission, the staff, our responsibility was to have some training in order to really focus on diversity and equity inclusion and how to really promote and expose it to the deaf eye. You know, we did already get some people who have shown interest in training our committee and our staff members and doing a diversity training for the deaf, blind. I think we already have 4 individuals who are interested in providing trainings, which is so exciting. 3 of them are Black and deaf. So here they are wanting to provide these training for us as staff members. That's very exciting. So we'll have different dates and different issues. And the 4th person, Tara Brown Ogilvy, has also come forward as being interested in a training as well, focused on her deaf blind knowledge, and also being willing to bring in some of her staff members from Deaf Inc., who are deaf blind community access people. So having them kind of come in and train us to understand how we can provide the correct services for deaf blind community members. So our staff is definitely focused on ensuring that we bring that comfort level to anyone and having that diversity be a key part of our organization. We don't want to be concerned about, you know, not doing the right thing. We want to build that confidence amongst our staff members, and having the appropriate training for all of us, including myself, is key. So that sums up my report for tonight. Thank you very much. Does anyone have any questions for me? Tim? I appreciate you discussing that diversity training. It really sounds great. I did have one thing going back to coming back into person and not having masks. A thought that I had that maybe a suggestion that might help people feel more comfortable and more safe would be maybe having a big room that would be reserved, like an oversized room, a gym or something to that effect, where a gathering for a public meeting would still allow opportunity for people to sit separately, and they could bring their laptops and utilize Zoom in order to see each other more clearly. We could maybe have a big projection screen for those who may want to see it on their own, you know, without a laptop, just to kind of have that comfort level available. And then, you know, the chances of exposure when not masked is certainly much reduced. So it's just a thought that thinking maybe as we do proceed with possibly moving back to in-person, we may be able to discuss it with those members who may have their own reasons for feeling uncomfortable, and find out what we can do to make it more comfortable. Maybe checking with them and seeing, maybe even doing like a drive-in style meeting where we park in our cars and we can kind of discuss from a distance. We may have to come up with some creative solutions, and I just thought maybe looking into those would be a great opportunity. Thank you so much for that, Ernest is saying. B? Oh, just one second. I'm sorry, do you mind spotlighting her? Great. Hi, everyone. My name is Bonnie Kaplan. I just wanted to report on Ernest's message in regards to the diversity panel. I think it's a great idea. Maybe as a suggestion, you may want to think about, yes, I'm unclear what that is. It's the Hispanic community. The reason is because where I work, I know that I have seen more and more clients from other countries coming in, especially Latino countries. And these, you know, they here in America certainly have a lot to offer in regards to their experiences and challenges and frustrations. It is so different from what we consider the regular community here, deaf community here. And I'm sure that's applicable all over the country as well. I do think that it might be important to consider involving them going forward as well. They are hard workers, and, you know, they've really gone through a lot and persevered. And, you know, I feel that, you know, having their lives here in America has certainly been something to consider. Bonnie, would you mind taking yeah, I just had a question. Ernest here, do you have a way that maybe I could get in touch with someone from that community, the immigrant community? I know, because of privacy, Bonnie is answering, yeah, because of privacy, maybe we could figure something out. Ernest saying, thank you so much for the information and the feedback. We really appreciate it. Are there any other questions for me? Would you mind spotlighting just 1 second? Amy? I agree with Bonnie. I think that's a great thing. The immigrant community really does need us to support them. And additionally, I think that, starting with the invitations and having them be invited to the Rhode Island Deaf Commission of Hard of Hearing events would be imperative. I do know that transportation is a barrier for many of them. So two things here. I don't know if it's possible, since CDHH is, wanting to kind of adjust their name and add in the deaf, blind, and hard of hearing piece. I know you don't have to answer this right now, but we do tend to sign that CDHH. I wonder if that may cause a little bit of confusion to our deaf community when that name is changed. Just food for thought again. The other item is, I'm just kind of wondering what your planning is for the community to try to kind of make connections with the community, outreach ideas, how service providers may or may not be able to provide support for that. Again, obviously that transportation piece, keeping that in mind, the time of day as well is a real challenge. So that's all. And Ernest is replying. I agree, you're right. With the name change, I think we'll have to just get used to that sign when that name change does take place, and really kind of embedding it, just as we've done in the past with other, agencies and so on. Secondly, I do agree with that second point. I do think it's important to reach out to as many as we can. So I do think kind of meeting and brainstorming some ideas as far as how to make that happen is key. Such as with the ideas we had with the various suggestions, having the drive-in and the gymnasium, just really creating the opportunity for partnership and conversation. I think, having that kind of support is very important. And, maybe what we can do is kind of get in touch with, having a one-day event and partnering or doing kind of excursions. But I do know that times of day and rides are challenging, separate lives and focus on family certainly are all barriers, but we are willing to partner with any organization that's willing to partner with us. I think there was a couple months ago where there was a deaf and hard of hearing residential Live Strong. They had an event at the college at Rhode Island College, and they were kind of unsure. And so we partnered with them and provided the resources that they needed, and whether it be interpreters or any other sort of support that they needed to ensure that their event was successful. And thankfully, a lot of people showed up at that event, whereas prior, in person was really not very successful. Seeing that was a great experience, and getting that feel to be out of the house and wanting to see that more often is something that is a goal. I'm looking to partner with anyone, but the idea of who, what, and how is tough. So any ideas you may have, you have my contact information, reach out to me, whether it's, issues or what I need to do, whether it's in person, on Zoom. I am more than happy, please reach out to us and we will set things up, whether it means other service organizations or whatever the case may be, things where people may be able to just show up at their leisure. In regards to the transportation, I did reach out to Rhode Island Public Authority of TRIPTA. I did ask a few questions about how they could possibly provide what they call like ride, RIPTA, excuse me, the ride transportation, where some individuals may not feel comfortable, but they do have exact routes they don't have exact routes to go from point A to point B. And some people are not comfortable with that. So I have reached out to them, and I am willing to share any additional information with you going forward. But I do appreciate you coming to me with those concerns and questions. Thank you, Ernest. So like I said, I just think it's, kind of getting back to that relation, the idea of making sure everyone is showing up, whether it's an agency, people on the commission are kind of keeping their eyes open to what, the needs are in the deaf community. I know there's a lot of barriers and unfortunately a lot of things happening in Rhode Island that are being overlooked. So maintaining that relationship is key. So I thank you. Ernest here. One more thing, I do reach out to organizations, whether it's alumni or deaf churches and any sort of events. We do tend to make appearances and show our faces and listen to what their stories are and what their frustrations are, and take those and share them with my staff to see how we can make improvements, because those experiences and stories are the real deal, and I'm not things that I'm disregarding. I take them and I do bring them up to my staff to see how we can better service everyone. So, reaching out and taking on any suggestions, I'm happy to do. Invite me and I'll be there. So keep that in the back of your mind. Thank you. All right, now I'm wrapping up. Sorry to have taken us so much time, and I'll pass over now.
Thank you, Ernest, for your wonderful report. At this time, it would be the commissioner's report. I want to quickly just remind everybody, it's 7:17 right now. So I think what I'd like to do, if we do have public comment, if anybody from the public would like to make a comment, what we're going to do is we're going to take just a very quick break. And when we come back, we're going to give the floor to the public for very quick, precise comments, if there is one or two. So let's take a quick break, about 10 minutes or so, and come back at 7:25. Okay. Thank you. Okay, folks, are we ready to begin again? Do we have people in attendance? Excellent. Nice to see you. Okay, let's continue and beginning again at 7:29 p.m. Okay, so the next point of discussion is the commissioner's report, beginning with the chairperson. So just a couple quick things for me in the interest of time. I'm continuing to meet with Shane and the whole team with the transitioning from Tim stepping down to me taking on the chair position. So that has been super helpful. We're meeting every Tuesday. And we're going to continue to do that, you know, straight throughout the summer for a while, for the whole term. So that's to help me get my goals, get the commission's goals, and get a better understanding of how we can accomplish and complete these goals. So secondly, I wanted to give the community an email address to directly contact me if need be. I don't know, Ernest or Tim, you might have an answer for this, but I don't know if I can have an email through the commission or not, but I can give my personal email as well. I just didn't know if that was something that was able to do, if we were able to do that or not. So
Tim is saying, yes, I can answer that. Kimberly, we do have an email address that's designated. The only issue is the state email does not allow you to get alerts on your phone. So when you send messages, it can be a problem. Sometimes you'll send something and you don't know that somebody has responded till you look on your email, not on your phone. So you don't get the alerts or the notifications that a message is there. And I have found that sometimes I will lose a message for a couple of days before I saw it as the chair. So there is some benefit to having a designated chair email address. And you can also link it to your personal address so the people will send it to a chair address and then it forwards to the personal address rather than you putting your personal address out there, because it should be something that everybody knows is the chair and it doesn't change with each chair. Ernest says Tim has explained that quite well. I was going to add, but I think what he has said is sufficient.
okay, so what I think we'll do, I'll just give my personal one for now. That's perfectly fine. So it's quite simple. It's Kimmy, K-I-M-M-I, my last name Marthers, M-A-R-T-H-E-R-S @gmail.com. So that way, if there's public comment that needs to come directly towards me as the chair, send it that way. So it may take me, you know, till the end of the day or the early morning, the next morning to respond, but I will respond. So we'll use that for now until I can establish another one that is, you know, specifically for the chair. That's fine. I have no problem with that. I think that's it for my report. As for the vice chair, do we have a vice chair report?
I have nothing to report at this time.
Excellent. Thank you. I'm just double checking the chats here. Fantastic. Do we have a secretary report?
No, there's nothing to report right now.
Okay. Moving on to a treasurer report. I think Brett, you are still the acting treasurer, so.
Hey, yeah, no report from me.
Excellent. And then if there's anything else, any other commissioner has anything else to report, now would be a good time. If not, we're going to just keep moving on. I know I had said that we were going to have public comment. So now would be the time. It's right in between the two reports. So prior to us doing our committee reports, I would like to open it up to the public for quick, concise comments. I'd like to keep the comments. I mean, it's hard to say, but obviously, 1 minute or less. And then if there's a response to that, same thing, if we can keep it to a minute or less in dialogue. I'm gonna have Bethany just watch the time for us. Right now it's 7:34 p.m. So do we have any public that would like to make a comment at this time?
Nancy is saying, I have my hand up.
Yes, Nancy, please go ahead.
Good evening, everybody. I'll keep this very short, just to bring to your attention that we're really starting to face a staffing crisis at the school. And we are, we're not having trouble attracting students, but we are having trouble attracting staff. And this is true across the country. We are not alone. Schools for the Deaf are really struggling. But unlike some schools that can offer hiring bonuses and housing, we as a state agency cannot do that. So I'm just asking you to be aware and to keep your eyes and ears open. If you become aware of people who are looking for work who would be qualified to teach content areas or elementary ed at the School for the Deaf, we would really love you to spread the word. And, we're all in this together, and our students are your future constituents, your current constituents. And I just wanted to bring to your attention that this is going to impact the school in a big way. And we could really use your help to put it on your Facebook pages, to send people encouragement to move to the beautiful state of Rhode Island. And I thank you for your time.
Thank you, Nancy. Any commissioners have any comments to Nancy's public comment? Betsy, go ahead.
Yeah, I'll just say that I'm sorry to hear that, and I can certainly put it on my Facebook page.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Betsy. I think it does affect us all. So I think if at all possible, commissioners, if you'd be so kind as to put it up on your Facebook page. You can also just check out the Rhode Island School for the Deaf page, link it right over. I think it would be the right thing to do. So if we as commissioners could do that, that would be helpful. Okay. Is there any other public comment at this time? Yes, Rain, go ahead.
This is Rain. I'm going to sign. So I like the public comment at the end of the meeting. I think it allows us to listen to what the topics are that are being discussed and then respond. So I appreciate that change. I'm the chair of the ad hoc interpreter referral services committee. And I had not prepared a report because this meeting was supposed to happen in person and I would not have been able to attend. And then recently it changed to Zoom and I am here, but I'm not here for the full meeting. So I just joined. I'm not prepared to give a report as the chair of that committee. There have been so many changes, unfortunately, depending on the executive order. It's a big challenge on whether or not we're going to be meeting in person or on Zoom, but I would like to make a comment related to it. A few months ago, and I don't remember when, it was a few months ago, I came before the commission and asked for support for two things. One was for the ADA accommodations to be submitted, that we could continue to use the waiver on the open meeting law so that we could have a platform of streaming without violating the OMA, especially for deaf people. And as the ad hoc committee chair, it really applies also to the commissioners and other meetings, the subcommittees. And obviously during the pandemic, we were able to do that, and it made it more accessible for us. Many people came to meetings that would not have been able to attend otherwise. I think that there's been an increase in participation on Zoom. The ad hoc committee has not been meeting. We were going to be meeting on January 21st on Zoom. We wanted to do it before the executive order. February 21st. Sorry, if I said January, sorry, I don't know. It's February 21st. We're going to be doing it just before the executive order might end, and it'll be 7 to 9 p.m. and it's open to anyone on Monday night, this coming Monday. We're going to be focused on working on accommodations for requests above the Rhode Island Commission for above the Rhode Island Commission's level, because I have not gotten responses. And we're going to be submitting that. We have talked to the Commission for the Deaf and we were told no. So we're writing something we've all agreed on as the committee to go basically over the commission's head and submit it directly to the legislature.
Right, I don't want to interrupt, but I have to. We've gone over the 1 minute comment. So if there's any way that you could tie it up, that would be ideal.
For sure. So that is my, unfortunately, my tendency to go over. So I will try to get right to the point. Because we have not heard any comment or response on our February 21st meeting, we'll be working on that. And I would like to have support from all the commissioners. So thank you.
Thank you, Rain, for your comment. And thank you for making it brief when I interrupted. I do apologize, but in the interest of time with the interpreters, I want to make sure that we can address everything we need to address tonight. And again, please feel free to contact me via I think it's in the chat right now. Somebody had added my email address just to keep me, on point of these things, because sometimes, I can miss things and such. So please feel free to email me as well. If there's a response to Rain's remark, any of the commissioners, now would be the time.
Thank you, Kimmy.
Okay, and again, it's 7:42. So I just want to continue on. So if there are no more public comments, we're going to quickly move on so we can get to the finer points on the agenda. All right, so we're at committee reports. The Employment Committee. Is there anybody from the Employment Committee that would like to let us know?
Ernest is saying, yes, if I'm spotlighted, I can comment. And we have a report. We had the pilot, the beginning, where we've been talking about employment here in Rhode Island, like the opportunities that Nancy McGuire Heath just talked about. We're posting a lot on our Facebook page, and I am very excited about that. The other is we're working with the Department of Labor and Training to do a survey for different businesses and agencies to ask them if they're familiar with deaf and deafblind and hard of hearing people and what the needs are, and to talk to them about the resources that they have to serve or to hire people from those communities. Do they understand about accommodations? Do they understand about the ADA? Many organizations and businesses are unaware, and we're doing a survey on that. And one of the things I want to develop is educational training. If an employer does not know about how to work with deaf or deafblind or hard of hearing people, to give them support so that they feel more comfortable working with people and hiring them into their company. And I didn't know if Betsy Beach wanted to add anything. I saw you pop up briefly. Betsy?
No, that you covered it. So that's what I'm aware of as well. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ernest. Thank you, Betsy. Moving on would be the Tech Access and Telecommunications Relay Services Committee. I do not believe that there is a report at this time. Right, yeah, okay. Ernest, go ahead.
Yes, sorry, that is my response. Yes. So the Tech Access TRS Committee doesn't have anything to report at this time. I know that you guys had voted a new chairperson and secretary at the last meeting. So for the next meeting, we have not set a date yet. Once we do get that date, we'll certainly make you all aware of that. I believe that's the end of the two committees that I'll be speaking on.
Excellent, thank you, Ernest. Next would be the, where am I? The Healthcare Committee and Healthcare Systems Transformation Project, HSTP. Do we have anyone here to speak on that? If not, oh, Brett.
Hey, sorry about that. For the healthcare committee, we did not meet in January. I was not available to meet, and so I don't have any update. So the next step will be our next meeting. And when we last met in like November, we said that we would do that for the March-April timeframe.
Okay. All right, thank you, Brett.
Yeah.
Yeah, things are definitely difficult with COVID, but you know, as long as we are trying, can't ask for more. So let's see, the Education Committee.
I usually chair this, but I was away. I just came back from medical leave and I have nothing to report, but I don't know if the committee met while I was out. I'll turn it over to Tim.
The committee did not meet, so we don't have anything to report. I do think that at this point, we're prepping to schedule our next meeting. And at that point in time, you know, whether now that Nancy's back, how we're going to proceed from here. So thank you.
I'm sure they are happy to have you back, Nancy, as we are happy to have you back. So we're coming back.
Thank you. You're very kind. I can walk again without pain, so life is good.
Good to hear. Good to hear. Okay, so we know that Rain had mentioned that she did not prepare anything, and that's okay. For the ad hoc referral committee, is there anybody that needs to speak on that? And if not, it's okay. Okay, we will move on to unfinished business. The upcoming meetings for 2022. So at this point, I would like to at least establish our next meeting in the 12 minutes that we have left this evening. So Bethany, can you please refresh my memory? Do we meet the first, or is it the third Wednesday of the month? Which typically do we meet on?
Typically, it has been the third Wednesday of every month.
Typically, it's the third. So if that has worked in the past, I'm okay with keeping it that way. Any of the other commissioners have a quick comment?
This is Tina. I say the third Wednesday is fine with me.
Okay, so going into March, The third Wednesday in March would be the 16th. And we don't know if we're going to be in person, and we don't know if we're going to be via Zoom. Or both. We'll see what we can work out. I don't know. So if March the 16th works for the commission members, perhaps we could hear thoughts, opinions, ideas.
Perhaps we could just do a thumbs up if it does work.
Fantastic. Okay, let's see. Looking good. Very good. So if at any point anyone would like to make a motion,
David didn't show up, so Tim is saying. I didn't see David's picture.
He put a thumbs up sign.
Ah,
yes, Betsy.
Kimmy, can we make a regular schedule for the rest of the year on the third Wednesday? It'd be easy for us to remember, and it's been sort of a traditional date. And I'd be in favor of just scheduling the rest of the year. You know, if we skip a month, at least it will be on our docket and we could just say we're deciding not to meet.
So is that a motion in the works, Miss Betsy Beach?
I'll make a motion that we meet for the rest of 2022 on the third Wednesday of each month.
That is wonderful. Do we have a second?
This is Tina. I'll second.
Thank you, Tina. All in favor? Just open up your videos. Give me that thumbs up. Wait, Tim?
We haven't. I just wanted.
we're not hearing about the amendment yet.
Yes, I just wanted to add about an amendment. So I know the third Wednesday of every month is fine. However, I just do want to be sure that we avoid any holidays, especially during, any sort of major holidays prior to, maybe not state holidays, but holidays, Yom Kippur, whatever we may need to avoid.
Okay, so is that with an amendment?
Yes, that is with an amendment.
All right. So we need a second.
And Drew has seconded that.
All in favor? Okay, that is passed. Thank you all. I just got a message in the chats regarding about, let's see, the ad hoc meeting. Okay. Okay, so next on our list, very quickly, because it's
Tim, Tim here, can we just go back to that attachment for that motion? The amendment would need to be passed as well, and we didn't pass that. So I just want to make sure that we pass my motion. So I'm motioning that we pass that amendment.
thank you, Tim. With a second, with the amendment,
I'll second the amendment.
all in favor? Very good. Thank you all. That has passed. Amended. Okay, next on our list would be adding the deaf-blind to RIC DDHH legislative mandates. I don't see where anyone would pose, but do we have anybody in opposition or anybody with an opinion that they would like to share? And there's 6 minutes left, folks. So let's do this in speed time. Yes, Heather.
If you don't mind, I just wanted to clarify, would it be the Rhode Island Commission for the deaf and deaf blind and the hard of hearing? So RICDDBHH or RICDBHH? That was just throw that out there. Thank you.
Thank you for that. I'm definitely going to turn it to Ernest. Ernest has been trying his absolute best to meet with that particular community. So please, Ernest, if you would.
Yes, Ernest here. I do see Tara has her hand raised, so I will turn it over to her, but RICD, deaf, DB, deaf blind, HH, hard of hearing. So in order to abbreviate it, it's RICDBHH. No, RICDDHH. Yes, RICDDBHH. So Rhode Island, deaf, blind, hard of hearing. And again, like I said, Tara has her hand raised, so I'll turn it over to her.
Hello, this is Tara. I was just gonna maybe suggest for ease of access, maybe it could be like the Commission for Deaf, Hard of Hearing and Deaf Blind and put DB at the end. That's what other states have done. Just throwing it out there if it's ease of access for the deaf community and the hearing community. And also, I just wanted to, while I have the floor for a second, I think if you're having new commissioners joining in, in the future, maybe consider someone who is deaf-blind or has combined vision and hearing loss. I'd be more than happy to nominate some people or put them in touch with your website and how to do that. So just let me know. I'll put my email in the chat. Thank you.
Thank you. That is a fantastic idea. I think perhaps that is going to need more discussion in the 3 minutes we have left with our interpreters, as well as our new business and announcements. And one of the biggest things under our new business this evening was to vote and nominate an applicant for deaf and ASL user commissioner's vacant seat. And we do have one that is, I think Ernest had mentioned somebody that is deaf-blind. So that would be ideal if we can have a voice, opinions, and perspective of somebody from that particular community. And I would like to give that the time that it deserves, and it deserves more than 3 minutes this evening. So perhaps can we place that at the top of the agenda for the March 16th? Or Ernest or Tim, is there a way to review that in 2 minutes where we can make a vote for them on the 16th meeting? Is there a way to not hold it, but continue on with the process?
Yeah, I understand. So what we would do is I would get in touch with the applicant, confirm that they are in fact interested, whether they want to have an interview at a closed or open meeting. And then once we place that request, we can send the formal letter, have her formally accept, and then again, determine whether it's closed or open. And then they could interview officially on March 16th with us. We, at that point in time, could have a list of interview questions, the ones I sent out recently, and could then in turn vote, have them, that vote be approved, and then have them turn in, be formally become a commissioner for the following or subsequent meetings.
So Ernest, for tonight, what do you need from us as the commissioners? Do we need to vote to accept this particular person's, Tim, I don't know if you can help as well. Do we need to vote on this? No? Okay, so it's
No.
just,
No,
Okay.
nothing needs, Ernest is just saying, we just wanted to make people aware. We do need to send a formal letter out to that person and see whether they are in fact going to accept and then whether they would like to attend our meeting on the 16th, open or close. Once we get that response, I can let you know and we can in turn set up the interview. But first, that formal letter needs to take place. Tim here is saying, we tend to just make sure that we want to advertise, kind of reach out, and make sure that we could in fact get several applicants prior to that meeting. And then at that meeting, set a time where we can invite them for interviews. And then we will have the opportunity to discuss, vote, nominate, and recommend to the governor who's selected, because we cannot officially select our choice. The governor's office has to do that. And Ernest is saying, so far we only have one who's interested. So thank you.
okay, perfect, folks. Well, now, of course, it comes to 8:00 PM. So Ernest, thank you for that. And thank you for doing the work on that end. Thank you, everyone, for being in attendance. I hope to see you all next month. Please feel free to email me if need be, or you can email the commission right on the website. My personal email is in the chat. So please double check that. And I hope everyone, Ernest, you have something quickly? Nope, okay.
No.
Well, Ernest, say goodbye, that's fine. So everyone, please stay well, please stay healthy. And thank you to our interpreters, and thank you to our CDI interpreter that I completely did not introduce. So thank you so much for your time and your assistance. And let's all do our best, okay? Take care, everyone.